Hey everybody, welcome to Easy Tarot Lessons. This is Squirrel. I've got Mandy and Sally with me. Hey y'all.
Hi there.
Hi.
Today we're doing the Eight of Coins. Pentacles for those of you who want to call them pentacles, but we interchange them and call them coins.
Yeah.
Sally, why don't you
Yes,
start
ma'am.
us off with him?
Oh, okay. Well, this is my guy. I always see him as somebody who would work making license plates in prison, just making something
God.
over and over and over again. He's done it so often. He can do perfect reproductions by hand. I mean, I see it as repetitive, detailed
Yeah.
work. And, here's a guy to me, he says, I like to work by myself. I like to be alone and out of the way of everything else. There's this city in the background that he's so far removed from, and he's just chilling, doing his own thing. So,
Yeah.
here's a guy who's dependable, hardworking, detailed oriented. Those are the things that really come to mind at first blush whenever I see this card.
Yes.
Was that you? It was group recently, or I was talking to someone. I cannot remember who it was, but it was brilliant. It was like, oh God, the never ending chore of dishes. There always
Yes,
are
Yeah.
dishes in the sink.
yes, yes,
Oh,
totally.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
just let the drain water out, and one of my kids put a damn cup in the sink.
Oh, it's so annoying, isn't it, when that happens?
Yes. I liked that
Yeah.
interpretation too.
Oh, yeah. No, that is just that's a perfect one, actually, isn't it, for that?
Some reason I've got Sally in my head saying it, so.
No, I don't think it was me. Somebody more brilliant than I am thought of that. And I'm looking at this card and I've never noticed this detail before, but you guys bring it out in me. I look at all these different details. I look at that vest he's wearing. It has those three stays on the back that are tied. He has to work with somebody because there's no way he can tie that himself. He can't.
Good
You're
point.
right. It looks a bit like one of those things sometimes that they put on you in a hairdresser's,
Yes.
when you're getting your hair cut and they,
If it had arms, my thought was it's a
yeah.
straight jacket.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before, that tie up the back. Yeah. I had this card come up this week.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, without going into details, um, because I know you know this story, but I did have somebody come to me on the market who wondered if a situation that's been going on for a while was going to continue or not.
Yes, yes,
You know the one I mean.
yes, I do.
Yes, and this card actually did come up for the part of the story that I told you
Mm-hmm.
about, and I
Mm-hmm.
just went that. This is why I said yes. I can see this going on. I
Yes.
think it will still be going on to the end of this year and beyond. Because even though I felt though, even though there's 8 coins in it, I feel there are actually more coins than the 8. They just go out of view of the shot. I
Mm-hmm.
I just saw that card and I just went, all right, that sort of spurred me to say, I think the situation will still be going on for the rest of this year and maybe beyond. I don't know if you would have felt like saying that for a timing.
I love it for
Yeah, I do
timing
too.
because it
Mm.
does kind of have that feel that it's a never ending cycle, that it's
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
always there.
This is, I kind of think, a very good card. I think it's a very good card for one of the timing cards in the tarot, actually.
And
It's quite easy to read
and
as
there
it's
are people who like the fixed. It's very fixed, that repetition. They
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
need that scheduling or continuity to be able to think straight. So
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, this is a really positive card.
Oh, absolutely. And it also sort of says if you work at something, if it was coming up as an advice card, like how to achieve something, I think well you're going to have to really focus on it, keep working at it, keep practicing it, go through the kind of repetition of it, and you
Mm-hmm.
will become good at it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what you'd want to do if you want to master this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it always tripped me up a little bit that the so-called traditional mastery card is in the very beginning of the suit, and then work to become a master comes afterwards. It's like, don't trip me up like that, man. But then you look at the image, it's like, oh, duh, yeah, of course it is. That's another thing where if you just try to memorize it, it's not going to
Yeah.
make sense. But if you actually look at the daggone image, it
Hmm.
just will.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah,
I
and it
must
does
say,
something with the whole progression of the journey too.
oh
It
yeah.
really flips that around.
Yeah.
I can see this card in two ways though. Like if I was looking at this card for, say for a kind of a career, part of me would look at this card and think this particular line of work has prospects. It kind of like you can get higher and higher and higher with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So in one sense, I might see it that way. On the other hand, I could see it as this job is going to be very repetitive. Do you know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
So I think it might depend on my, intuition at the time, how I or other cards that are around it, how I would interpret it. But one way or the other, I see it as pretty positive.
Yeah, I like it. He looks relaxed. He looks like he's
Yeah.
actually enjoying, like he's in the moment. And he
Hmm.
really seems to care about how he's doing it. You put a hammer and a chisel in my hand, things are going to be broken.
Yeah, with that brick behind it, that's what I was thinking. If this was ceramics, I would be busting those discs all over the place. You just see
Yeah.
scraps.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look bored, does he? Like you could say the guy in the Seven looks a bit fed up and bored, whereas
Right.
this one just seems to be head down, happily getting on with it. I imagine he's wearing sort of earpods or something and
Right.
Whistle while you work.
listening to these podcasts as he bangs his hammer.
Oh my! And earlier I was looking at it. This is just really ridiculous, but World of Warcraft in the original before it was an MMO, that they had little orcs and you could poke the orcs with your mouse and they'd look up and go work work. And so many times when I'm looking at this card out of context, I can see that little orc looking at me and go, work, work. It's like, so somebody needs to make us a World of Warcraft tarot deck.
Yeah. Do you think I mean I've never ever said this about this card, and I think I'd be more likely to say it maybe if it was reversed. But if looking at it in a completely different way, you might say that he's got a problem with his legs.
Huh.
Oh, sure. I see what you're getting at.
Do you know what I mean? They're so
Yep.
bright red and they look sore. You could say sore leg or something. I don't know. It depends what question you're asking. You might just notice his legs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I never realized that before, but that bright red, it is
Yeah.
bringing attention to that because everything else he's wearing is kind of frayed and
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe he has circulation problems in his legs,
Yes,
like when you're
something like
flying
that.
long distances.
Yeah.
or maybe he needs a job where he can sit.
Yes. Yeah. Don't know. I mean, it's not the first thing I would notice, but it always depends on the
Yeah.
question and what exactly it's answering at the time.
Right.
Because if it were,
Yeah, those legs might come into my mind, as being relevant.
if you turn that card over and that's the first image that jumps out at you, that would be something
Yeah.
to seriously consider.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's definitely. And I wonder, in the reverse position, since you meant it, is that saying that things won't be as repetitive or things won't be as constant? There's a
That's certainly one
constant.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might just be you've kind of gone as far as you're going to get with this.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel in the upright, there is still that kind of climb, that Whereas in the reverse, it's kind of the other way, isn't it? It's like you've got as far as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
you know, yeah,
Or the orders are going to stop coming in because the
Mhm.
economy's
yes,
gone to hell, or upright is like they're just going to keep coming. You're going to have steady, consistent. I mean, I am a fixed person, so that steadiness of this card just it makes me happy.
Mhm. Mhm.
yes. I'm a fixed person as well.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
So
No,
Uh,
nice to all clash like that, isn't it? The three of
right.
us,
Right.
could you
three
imagine
fixed sides.
if we had cardinal, fixed, and mutable all in the same room? Everybody would be going cross-eyed. It's like, what the hell are they? They're probably already
No,
saying,
I'm
"What the
right.
hell are they
No,
talking
I
about?"
am definitely the one that's right.
So remember, kiddies.
Mm.
These are really great observations, but they're all coming from fixed individuals.
Right. Right.
Yes.
I'm looking at originals versus forgeries with this card.
Oh
I'm looking at all kinds of
yeah.
things.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
Like you, I find this a very comfortable card, but it is there's a sameness to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I see same, 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 same when I'm doing anything with this.
It's
That's
really weird because, like, when I was in like Les Mis, not trying to name drop, but the repetition was the big thing that you have to kind of deal with when you're doing a big show
Mm-hmm.
and you're signed up for sort of like very long contracts. It's 6 days a week, 8 shows a week. Funny that this is the number 8. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? And it's over and over again. It's deja vu kind of constantly. And that's what you have to overcome because you have to make it look like it's the one and only time each
Right.
time
right.
you do it, which is kind of like what he's doing, where he's focusing on that one. It's like he has to be in the moment with the one that he's working on, even though he's going to repeat it, and he probably has been repeating it over and over again. I could liken this to sort of doing a West End show, actually.
It is
Mm-hmm.
staged.
A little stage there that he's
Mm-hmm.
sitting on,
I love that, Mandy. That was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
and the stars, yeah, like like I know they're
Oh,
rules, but yeah, now I'm totally sort of seeing it in a theatrical light now.
oh my God. Yep, I just saw the curtain call.
Yes.
Where y'all hold hands and bow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, yes, yeah, interesting.
And so you see how we're not limiting it just to mean career. We're not
Mm-mm.
limiting it to, oh, this is a factory worker. It, y- Burke. I got all excited and couldn't speak again. I, if we just go by the traditional meanings, we limit ourselves so completely. And you see how we didn't go off the reservoir and say, oh, this is death or something silly like that. It
No,
still has that same concept, but it was able to envelop much, much more. Relationship wise, holy cow, he's always going to be steady as a rock, or
Mm-hmm.
she.
yes.
Yeah, committed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally committed.
yes.
Yeah. This
In it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is the guy, when the paramour wears off and things start getting into a rut, like, hello, life, he's not gonna run off looking for something more exciting. He's
Yeah.
going to stay.
Yes.
And he's going to work on that relationship. Oh, man, it could mean, it does not have to just be about money or possessions or career because it's coins. If you're
Right.
reading about a relationship and he comes up,
Hmm.
apply it to the relationship.
Well,
So,
relationships are about investment. I mean, you're investing your
yes.
energy, your time. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
do you value this situation? Is it does it what is it worth to you? In terms of what you're putting into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely said. Nicely said. But when people read those books, and I mean, I'm very, very guilty of it when I started reading. And I was saying yesterday that I remember the traditional meanings. I was a memorizer when I first started. And I
Yeah, me
think what
too.
tripped me up for years is my intuition was trying to blossom. It was trying to come out. But I kept telling myself, no, that's not what the card means. Like some little backseat
Yeah,
driver
yeah.
in my own head.
Hmm.
And it really stunted my growth.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think most of us have been there at one point or another.
Yeah. I had a lady like on the market on Monday, and she said, "Oh, I've got a set of tarot cards." She said, "But I've not really spent a lot of time, using them
Hmm.
yet." So I said, "Oh, well, if you decide you want to kind of get to know what you're doing," and I sort of showed her like the white book.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I said this would be the best way that you could learn the tarot would be get this book. Don't confuse yourself with all sorts of, millions of different kind of opinions and things from online. Just get
Hmm.
this book and work through it. It's a workbook. It takes you right back to absolute beginner. And she went, "Oh, I've got a book." And I went, "Oh, have you?" She went, "Yeah, like the little one that came with the cards." I went,
Throw that away.
"Throw it away.
Burn it!
Throw it away." I mean, it is, yeah. It's kind of like, do people seriously think that all they have to do is read that little white book that comes with the cards, and that's it? Then they're tarot readers.
Yes, yes, they
And
do.
that's a bit scary, isn't it? That
Hmm.
Hmm.
people think.
Hmm.
But
And it
then I think that's what I did to begin with.
it was
So
what I did. It was
Hmm.
it was what I did, and then you know, you get a card like Temperance or the Hanged Man or something, and you're like, what?
Right?
yeah,
And I still do that every now and then. What?
yeah.
So this card speaks volumes to all of us.
Oh yes,
He's
Hmm.
got a lot more to say. Don't just take what we say and say that's everything he can mean. Take the time to see how you see him, what your life applies to him. And if he makes you think of a little story that happened, tell the story. Tell the story because it's going to have pertinence to the person you're reading for. Seriously.
yes.
Hmm.
So, you two
Yeah.
have been amazing today. Thank you so much for being here, and
Thanks, Sharon.
and I will see you next time.
See
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.